Hey guys, it's Eric from PurePressure. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to be checking out some Punch Drunk live rosin on today's episode of Solventless Review, and I've got Josh, the owner of Kush Masters, here to talk all about it and how you can even win your own awards and what judges look for. All right, let's check it out.
Today we're really excited to bring you an award-winning live rosin from Kush Masters in Boulder, Colorado. This Punch Drunk is a nice combination of Bermuda Punch and Mac, otherwise known as Miracle Alien Cookies. Two phenomenal strains that they blended together in the lab to make an entirely better creation. It took home first place at the Rooster's 710 Showdown this year, and when you open the jar, you can immediately tell why it caught the judges' attention. Fruit, all kinds of terpenes that are really evocative of a fruit market in South America come at you. It's almost hard to tell which ones you're smelling because it's a mixture of pineapple, papaya, maybe even watermelon. Looking at the consistency, it's this gorgeous shiny butter mixed with sugar, and you can tell that the terpenes have even started to separate ever so slightly at room temperature. This strain isn't the highest in potency, testing at around 74% THC, but that's okay because it more than makes up for it in the smell and the aromas and the flavors that come along with it, which we would argue are more important in most cases anyway.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Solventless Review. This is Eric. Today we've got a really special episode. We've got Josh from Kush Masters and some award-winning live rosin just took home first place at the Rooster Showdown in the category. So super excited. Josh, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Kush Masters.
So Kush Masters was originally founded in 2015. We did contract processing for quite a few different people in the industry, all within Colorado. And then we expanded our brand outreach around 2017. And we're focused on connoisseur extracts and making sure that people are outputting the best quality inputs and outputs for overall concentrates, because it's a huge new part of and wave of the industry. So we wanted to make sure that people were properly educated as they dab, as they consume, as well as make sure it's some good stuff.
Nice. So you guys have been at this a little while. How long have you guys been making rosin for?
We've been making rosin since about 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so everyone knows, Josh is also one of the co-owners here at PurePressure and one of the people responsible for really seeing big time value in solventless a long time ago when people were making it with hair straighteners. And really Josh was the one that came up with the idea of how do I come up with a better press so that I can make this more viable. So
yeah, I mean, Kush Masters was born, and we found definitely a necessary need in the market for a high quality, versatile rosin press. What we were using just wasn't cutting it, and we wanted to make sure that we could put out the best concentrates, the same way that starting material creates quality extracts. It also comes down to the machinery and the repeatability of that machinery. And so, went out and, built a press, and, PurePressure is what it is today, which is a huge blessing, and it's great. It's amazing to see everybody utilizing that technology, and, it's only getting better.
Yeah. So tell everyone a little bit about what goes into making award-winning rosin. So the strain we've got today is Punch Drunk, which is a cross between
Mac and Bermuda Punch.
And what does Mac stand for?
Mac is just a strain that was bred.
Is it Miracle Alien Cookies? Is that what it's called?
Miracle Alien Cookies, yeah.
Cool, yeah. So tell everyone a little bit more about the strain and kind of what went into this.
Yeah, so I mean, both strains, were grown separately as their own strain, and what we ended up doing, they each have their own unique profile. So each their own terpene profile, their own necessarily bud structure, features, that type of stuff, and trichome head structures, which all into account when you're utilizing and going in for water extraction.
Okay.
Because that was the first process of getting this final product right here that we're about to consume here shortly.
So that was obviously ice water hash, washed, pressed. When you guys were doing this, is this a cross between one strain that's the punch drunk, or is it two strains that have been blended together purposefully?
It was two strains that were blended together, purposefully.
Okay.
Within the lab itself.
Okay.
So they were grown separately, and then we decided the two profiles would create an amazing, over what we hoped would be an amazing,
Sure.
extract. Sometimes they're hit and miss. Sometimes it's harder to sell concentrate when it's blend like that. So you really have to be careful on how you mix these terpene profiles, and don't make a flavor or something like that somebody won't enjoy.
Sure. Okay. So there's some risk involved
Absolutely.
when you're taking a blend. And were these strains washed together?
Yes.
Okay. So you put it all together, washed it, and then pressed it. Because I've definitely heard of some companies and places where they'll wash one or the other, and then they'll actually mix the heads after they've been dried. But is there a reason that you prefer that method?
Because it's all one cohesive product within the bubble hash itself. And when you end up working with bubble hash, and depending if you're in a cold room or not, you end up getting those greasy patties. Bubble hash is a little bit harder to work with. So when you have those two flavor profiles within that bud form, and it's also where you're going to have your highest terpene within those genetics itself. So that's going to come out in your flavors and stuff. Some are going to be more dominant than others, which is also why you got to be very careful on which ones you mix together.
Got it. So, for example, probably some of the gassier OGs are going to really overpower certain blends, for example.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like even on the fruity side as well, you're going to end up with certain like tangerines and stuff like that to just overpower everything within extracts.
So your clementines and your tangerines, they're going to take over what you're making.
Absolutely.
So another question I know that probably a lot of people watching are really interested in hearing about is when you're picking strains to wash well, ones that are really going to dump and be worth the time and energy to do it, can you tell ahead of time? Like, how do you know it's going to work? Do you test it? Like, what's your process there?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the, common asked questions, I think, within the industry. And it's, a very challenging part of deciding on what material to choose from is working with the right growers, working with people who are open to feedback and not stuck in their ways.
All starts in the garden, right?
Yes, yeah. Extracts definitely start in the garden. You have to have a good product to work with.
Okay.
And so really developing those relationships and making sure not only are they handling the products properly while they're growing it, so they're not damaging the heads, but also while they're packaging it up for delivery to you. Take for an example, you just cropped all your buds and you're going in to freeze them. Well, you have a bunch of bags stacked on top of each other that aren't necessarily frozen yet. So you're going to be misfrozen. That weight, think about what that's doing to a trichome head. It's just shrinking.
They're extremely delicate.
Very delicate.
Right.
You touch a trichome head, usually, it will explode.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So super, super interesting stuff. When it comes down to actually making something that wins an award like this, I mean, what goes into that? What are the judges looking for? And in your experience, having entered a couple cups and competitions and having won awards across a couple categories, what advice can you give for other people out there who are trying to win their own hardware here?
Yeah, I mean, I think knowing your competition is really important. Looking at past competition.
Sure.
Results are also very important. Looking at those profiles of those strains that have won past awards within those categories within that award.
So knowing
arena.
what the judges want.
And some competitions allow you to enter more than one per category.
Oh, okay.
And so what that allows you to do, normally if we enter, let's just say the 710 Showdown, for example, which is the one that we won right here. We were allowed to enter up to 3 into whatever category we wanted. We entered 1 into some of the stuff, and then we entered 2 into some of the categories as well.
Okay. What are some other categories you guys were working with?
Distillate, which we took first place home as well.
Nice.
We did pens.
Okay. Are those live rosin pens or those live resin pens?
They're live resin pens.
Cool.
And then some disposable live resin pens, just both types of hardware.
Okay.
And then we also entered wax shatter and crystalline, which is diamonds.
So it sounds like it's probably not a bad idea to enter as many categories as your lab is able to, if possible.
Absolutely. I mean, your material and your products also got to be there. You don't want to enter something you don't think you have a valid chance of winning, because they are very costly as well to, be entering multiple things into multiple categories, which is why we normally stay to 1 entry. But if it's a category that you never know what the judges could be looking for, or it's a newer category, let's say, for example, rosin, you can go with like you were saying earlier, the more OG, dominant, and that judge panel might be, more of OG type of flavor profiles, or the more of that fruity type of profile. So it gives you kind of a wide range to fall within the category of the judges as well.
Gotcha. So you guys entered more than 1 into the rosin category, is that what you're saying?
Yes, we entered 2 into the rosin category.
Cool. For this strain specifically, since this is what we're reviewing today, the Punch Drunk, if you could guess, why do you think that this one won? What about this strain, before we sample it here in a second, like what's special about Punch Drunk?
Ever since it came out of the machine, I mean, even...
Oh, you just knew.
It was a beautiful color, the clarity, the smell and aroma that we were achieving off of that rosin, even as it sat in the jars, changing consistencies. We, just everybody in the lab kind of gradually went to it. It was kind of like a natural thing, and we have our solventless room, which is, separated, but, obviously with high terpenes and rosin extraction and stuff like that, you can, smell them through the doors sometimes. And so people were coming in the solventless room the day that we were doing this extraction. And, obviously things like that get picked up by the techniques or the techs that are working that day.
Right.
And so when we were talking about entering this competition, it was a no-brainer for us. This is the one that we thought would do it, but we also entered more of an OG dominant profile as well.
So this one's definitely on the fruitier side. Given the name and the cross that you're describing that you guys blend together. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at this. Obviously in the video, you guys are already going to check out some sweet macros. Also, really like this package design. It's cool. Got some gold foil on it. Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you.
I can tell why people are picking that up on the shelf.
Yeah.
So here's our little glass jar. I'm gonna take a little sniff here. So yeah, it's really strong.
Yeah.
Like surprisingly strong.
Right when you open it.
I've been to labs all over the place, done a lot of this, and this one is just, it'll stink up this entire room.
Yeah, absolutely.
No question. And I'm really trying to dial in. It's got, definitely the tropical fruit. Some people, if I was gonna guess, it'd be some kind of like banana-y, papaya sort of smell. It's hard to
And that's
really...
what made this one so unique, like no one could put their direct finger on it. It hits so many different people's, wants in a concentrate, which was really exciting to see. And it was just off the smell alone. Which can also give you indications, of award-winning concentrates and stuff that could be good as other products as well.
So extremely stable consistency. This has been sitting out today for a little while at room temperature. Most of the time, a lot of these strains are going to be kept in a freezer or a fridge during the day, and then this, however, you can just tell that this is really buttery. It's sugared up just a tiny, tiny bit. It's almost glistening here in the jar. It kind of feels like somebody brought some giant fruit bowl into the room here that we're just smelling on.
it's that natural terpene sweat, even at room temperature, you know, that those terpenes start to rise and separate from the actual rosin itself. You know, and like I was saying earlier, you know, the jar itself was, you know, so potent within the lab that every time
up
we
the whole
open,
place.
it just stinks up the entire room.
I mean, I can't even imagine. We got a gram right here. You know, we're talking, how much were you guys pressing at a time?
I mean, we're pressing around 80 to 120 grams at a time. Yeah.
So before we try it, because I'm really fixing too, I mean, I don't know how much longer I can talk about this before we give this a shot, but consistency is one of the biggest things when it comes to winning awards, is what you've said in the past and what we've heard from some of our other brand allies and some of our other customers. Can you speak to the consistency aspect, especially of rosin specifically, and how that matters?
Yeah, so consistency in your final product is probably one of the most important things, you know, especially being a lab or somebody who isn't selling it directly to that customer, being on the wholesale side of that equation. You know, what that does is it allows you to, you know, no matter who's grabbing that gram within the dispensary, you know it's gonna end up staying that consistency. So making sure that, you know, you manipulate your material in a way before it hits the shelves so that it stays that consistency, whether you're going for shatter or wax or butter or sugar or, you know, micro diamonds. You know, some jam tech, like all of those different things and consistencies, those are all done within the lab. So making sure that as you give it to your packagers that you have a consistent product that you're selling as a consistent product.
It's nice and stable.
Yeah.
It's ready to go. It's not changing on it, so that the judges and someone who is, you know, buying this off the shelf is, you know, they're getting what they're seeing on the Instagram.
Absolutely, you know, and that's probably one of the most important things, you know, for me, is being able to provide the industry a consistent product.
Awesome. So Kush Masters is located in Boulder, Colorado. Proud to have them here in the state. So we smoke out of a couple different things. On one of our previous episodes with Roz and Ryan, sometimes we've got a nail. We've had episodes where we're putting honey on toast. Today we've got a Puffco. What setting are we gonna, what do you recommend? Give it a color.
Low for me. Anything that you're smoking, I like to go at a lower temperature.
So hash rosin in general, nice low temp always.
Yeah, because you're gonna be able to get those terpene profiles better, and you know, if you burn terpenes and you have too high of a terpene rich product, you can actually, you know,
It's a little harsh, right?
It's harsh, you know. So, you know, I really like to enjoy these high quality concentrates. You know, it's almost like a fine wine. So.
Right. We're not having our dabs medium well today.
No,
okay. We're gonna do this proper. So, all right, let's give it a shot. You want to load me up?
Absolutely.
Cool. That's strong. What are the potency results on this one?
So this one, we got the box right here, so we can take a peek.
Man, just like as I'm sitting here, that fruit that I was smelling in the jar just kind of working its way back like towards the back of my tongue. You know, sometimes certain concentrates, they have like a little bit of an after flavor, but man, with these premium hash rosins, I mean, super clean, and you can tell, you know, no throat irritation whatsoever there. I mean, granted, I'm not someone who's taken the world's biggest dabs, but that's one of the biggest things for me, is just, it's clean. I'm not coughing my brains out right now. You know, I can actually sit here and really let this soak in, and I can enjoy it. And it's just like, I mean, that is just really tasty stuff. I mean, it feels like I'm down in Central America at a fruit stand trying to pick out what pineapple or banana or, you know, papaya I'd like to have.
And that's the stuff you have to hit in those profiles that you really need to, you know, it's like what sounds good to you, you know, and it's almost like that technician's, you know, responsibility as materials coming in to, you know,
identify it,
and try and work through those grows in order to achieve those high yields, those flavor profile combinations, all of those things to create phenomenal concentrates.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, and why sometimes we do mixes is because for run size totals for lab optimization, sometimes, one grow only grew, let's say 4,000 grams of this strain. And so, we have a 8,000, 12,000 gram capacity per run.
Bring them together.
So if we bring them together, if they fit together and they mesh together, why not? And, stay at full optimization.
Yeah, so, I mean, the sum of the parts greater than the individuals here, big time, especially for this one.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the profile there just comes together so smooth and so elegantly, and like the actual almost like fruit-like flavor that it gives. It's like almost like a smoothie.
Yeah. So now that we've been sitting here for a minute and I'm starting to like really feel it, this is a review after all. This one's really nice. I'm finding that it's really relaxing. It's got a pretty calming quality. It's been a busy day. And
it's almost like a little bit of a head high.
Definitely. Like a little behind the eyes in this particular one. I don't get that with a lot of strains.
Yeah, but it's not overwhelming,
No.
like where some head highs can be, and like it's kind of just like sit back on the couch and, be still, not
I'm
feel
here.
like,
I feel lucid.
Exactly.
But I'm also a lot more relaxed than I was a couple minutes ago.
Absolutely. Yes, no. And that's what we really try and hit within concentrates, because it is such a representation of the plant and what its capabilities are.
Yeah, and people out there are gonna experience it different ways, but I can see why the judges were really pumped up about this one. It is pretty clear once you get a chance to try it.
Absolutely. You can find us, pretty much. You can go to KushMasters.com. We have a map on there. A few of our local stores, throughout the Denver metro area. Pig and Whistle, Northern Lights, Starbuds.
So check the
Burt's,
website.
Check the website.
See what's
We're
current.
in, pretty much a good majority of Colorado stores. So.
And make sure to follow these guys on Instagram. They got great content. It's kush.masters. Is that right?
Yep.
Awesome. Very final thing before we wrap up our show here for the day. The award that you won, that was with the Rooster, right?
Yeah, it's the Rooster. They have two competitions that they do.
420 and 710, right?
Yep. The two kind of holidays of our industry. 710 being oil spelled backwards, and 420. I mean, who knows the real how that came up, but it's cool to see them embrace the industry and actually the companies within that industry. It's really awesome to be able to
be recognized for your hard work. I feel like that is just unanimous in other industries.
Absolutely.
And here it brings a lot of legitimacy to the table. Check out Kush Masters. If you're in Colorado, you can get tickets to the Rooster events when they come around, so make sure to give them a shout out. They're really fun. Last one we went to a Temple nightclub down in Denver. We all had a great time. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. That was some really great product. So to get more Solventless reviews, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel right here below. Check out the rest of the episodes and all of our great Solventless videos. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.